The bulldozer's roar shattered the quiet of Maplewood Cemetery, its steel teeth clawing through my mother's grave like a beast devouring memory. I stood frozen, my heart a frantic drum, watching as the Homeowners Association's hired crew turned her headstone to rubble. They claimed it was a mistake, a miscommunication about an unauthorized plot, but I knew better. Karen, the HOA president, had hated my family since we moved into Willow Creek. Her vendetta, cloaked in petty rules and smug superiority, had now desecrated the one place I could still feel my mother's warmth. By nightfall, whispers of a federal investigation into the HOA's shady dealings began to surface, but no justice could undo the ache of this betrayal. I was 16 when we moved to Willow Creek, a pristine suburban enclave where every lawn was manicured and every smile calculated. My mother, a free-spirited artist, never fit in. She painted wild murals on our garage, grew sunflowers that towered over the neighbors' fences, and laughed too loudly at HOA meetings. Karen, with her perfectly pressed blouses and clipboard of complaints, took one look at Mom's untamed spirit and declared war. Citations for unsightly flora and non-compliant exterior decor arrived weekly, each one a jab at Mom's joy. When Mom got sick, the fight interfaded, but not Karen's crusade. Cancer stole her breath in slow, cruel increments, and by the time I was 18, I was burying her in Maplewood, a small cemetery just outside the HOA's jurisdiction. So I thought. Mom had chosen the plot herself, a quiet corner under an oak tree, where she said she could rest with the wind in her hair. I visited every Sunday, laying sunflowers on her grave, whispering stories of my day to the stone etched with her name, Lila Marie Thompson. It was my sanctuary, my tether to her. 2 years later, I got the call. A neighbor, Mrs. Delaney, her voice trembling, told me to come quick. I arrived to chaos construction crews, yellow tape, and Karen standing at the cemetery's edge, her arms crossed, a smirk playing on her lips. The oak was gone, its roots ripped out like veins from a body. Mom's headstone was a pile of dust, her plot flattened for what Karen called community expansion. They'd annexed part of the cemetery for a new HOA clubhouse, claiming the land was underutilized. I screamed until my throat burned, but Karen just handed me a form letter about regrettable oversights and offered a $500 reimbursement for the headstone. I couldn't breathe. The air felt thick with violation, with a stench of diesel and Karen's floral perfume. I fell to my knees in the dirt, clawing at the ground where Mom's name used to be, as if I could dig her memory back up. The workers avoided my eyes, but Karen met them with a cold stare. "You should have checked the bylaws, Ellie," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "This is private property now." Private property? Maplewood had been public land, a resting place for generations, not some HOA playground. I stumbled home, my hands caked with earth, and called my cousin Nate, a law student with a knack for digging up dirt. "Something's not right," he said, his voice low. "HOAs don't just seize cemeteries. Let me make some calls." That night, he uncovered the first thread. Karen's HOA had pushed through a shady land deal, bribing a county official to rezone Maplewood's edge as private property. The deeper Nate dug, the uglier it got: kickbacks, forged signatures, and a trail of complaint from other residents whose lives Karen had upended. I didn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at Mom's old sketchbook, her pencil strokes a map of her soul. She'd drawn me once, under that oak tree, laughing with sunflowers in my hair. Now that tree was firewood, and her grave was a construction site. Rage built in my chest, sharp and relentless, but so did something else: determination. Karen thought she could erase my mother, but she'd underestimated me. The next morning, I marched to the HOA office, a sterile building with fake plants and Karen's nameplate gleaming on the desk. I demanded answers, my voice shaking but loud. She leaned back in her chair, her smile ablade. "Ellie, you're young. You don't understand how things work. The community needed that space, and your mother's plot was in the way." She said plot like it was a weed, not a grave. I slammed my fist on her desk, papers scattering. "You'll pay for this, Karen. I swear it." Word spread fast. Neighbors, tired of Karen's tyranny, started talking. Mrs. Delaney told me about her son's memorial bench, removed without notice. Mr. Patel shared how the HOA had fined him in a bankruptcy over a non-compliant mailbox. We formed a group, a ragtag coalition of the fed up, meeting in my living room to pool evidence. Nate's research hit paydirt. The HOA's land grab violated federal cemetery protection laws. He tipped off a reporter, and soon the FBI was sniffing around Willow Creek. Karen didn't flinch. At the next HOA meeting, she stood at the podium, her voice smooth as glass. "These accusations are baseless," she said, her eyes scanning the room, daring anyone to challenge her. "We're improving Willow Creek, not destroying it." But I saw the cracks her hands trembled slightly, and her smile was too tight. I stood up, my voice cutting through the murmurs. "You bulldozed my mother's grave, Karen. You think you're untouchable, but the feds are coming for you." The room went silent, then erupted in whispers. Karen's face flushed, but she didn't respond. The investigation gained traction. News vans parked outside the HOA office, cameras flashing as agents carted off files. Karen's perfect facade crumbled. She stopped showing up to meetings, her blinds always drawn. I should have felt victorious, but every time I passed the cemetery, my chest ached. The oak was gone, the ground scarred, and no arrest could bring Mom's grave back. I kept visiting, sitting in the dirt, talking to her absence. "I'm fighting for you," I whispered, but the wind carried my words away. Weeks turned to months, and the case grew bigger than I'd imagined. The FBI uncovered a network of corruption. Karen wasn't just a petty dictator. She was a cog in a machine of greed, with developers and officials pocketing millions from illegal land deals. Willow Creek's HOA was just one piece of a sprawling puzzle. Reporters called me for quotes, dubbing me the girl who took down the HOA, but I didn't feel like a hero. I felt hollow, like the hole where Mom's grave used to be. The trial was a circus. Karen took the stand, her hair still perfect, her voice steady as she spun lies about clerical errors and community benefits. I sat in the courtroom, my hands clenched, as Nate whispered updates about plea deals and evidence. The prosecution played a recording Karen's voice, smug and clear, telling a developer, "The cemetery's a gold mine. No one's going to miss a few old graves." The jury gasped, and I felt a sick satisfaction. She'd pay, but it wouldn't be enough. The verdict came on a gray November morning. Karen was convicted on multiple counts: fraud, bribery, and desecration of protected land. The courtroom buzzed as she was led away, her face pale, her eyes avoiding mine. The HOA was dissolved, its assets frozen, and Maplewood's annex land was returned to public control. The judge promised restitution for affected families, but no money could rebuild Mom's grave. The oak was gone forever, its roots too deep to replant. I went back to the cemetery the next day, carrying a single sunflower. The construction site was quiet now, the bulldozers gone, but the damage remained. I knelt in the dirt, tracing the spot where her headstone once stood. "I did it, Mom," I said, tears blurring my vision. "They're gone, but so are you." The wind was silent, and the emptiness clawed at me. Justice had come, but it was cold, a hollow echo of what I'd lost. I learned later that Karen got 7 years. The news called a landmark case, a warning to HOAs everywhere. Willow Creek changed. Neighbors started talking again, planting wildflowers, defying the old rules. But I couldn't stay. Every corner of that place reminded me of Mom, of the grave I couldn't save. I moved to a small apartment in the city where no one cared about my lawn or my mailbox. I kept her sketchbook on my nightstand, her drawings a lifeline to the past. Sometimes I dream of the oak tree, its branches swaying over Mom's grave, her laughter in the leaves. I wake up gasping, reaching for something that's gone. The feds took down Karen, but they couldn't give me back what mattered most. I fought for justice, and I won, but the victory was bitter, a reminder that some wounds never heal. Mom's grave is just a patch of earth now, but her spirit lives in me, in every sunflower I plant, in every fight I refuse to lose.